How do you think you would have done? Of course, former UFC middleweight champion. You are one of the greatest fighters ever, period. How would you have done, Michael?
Well, that's very kind of you to say. When I was competing, people used to say that I didn't hit very hard and that my punches were kind of like a slap. So you never know. Because of that, I might have done well. But listen, these guys are kind of made for it. They're big guys. Obviously, there's weight classes, but some of the heavy weight classes, they're big, they're heavy set. They got massive necks or maybe no necks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I got knocked out a few times in my career. Fortunately for me, those days are done. I'm not taking any punches, slaps, kicks, anything. I'm safe. I got a microphone in my hand, and that's exactly where I want to be.
Right. And yeah, for a guy who they said didn't hit hard, I sure watched you knock out a lot of guys throughout your career.
Yeah,
So that was
I
funny.
have my moments.
Right. Yeah, I'd say so. You're not taking a slap in competition, but did I just not see a video where you did take a little slap, right, Mike?
Well, yeah, that was it. So I was commentating, and I want to know some information on these guys. So I went down into their locker rooms and went in and just, asked a few questions. I wanted to know what brought them here, what their backstory was and things like that, because they're all individuals and they've all got these interesting backstories. Obviously, as a commentator, I want to know the people that I'm talking about. Yeah. So I went down in there, and one of the guys said to me, "Hey, it would be an honor if you would give me a little slap." So, and then it became a thing. Then after that, every single one of them wanted a slap. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then a few times I slapped some people, but it was only light. I'm talking, I'm messing around. Just a little one of them for the sake of it, for fun and games, and maybe an Instagram video or whatever. And then one guy's like, no. Let's go again. I want a proper slap. So I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I don't need a lawsuit on my hands, but I might have upped the power or the intensity just a notch, but still, I wasn't trying to hurt anyone.
Did I hear that that there was something with the athletic commission where he wasn't able to perform? Was that? Did I hear that?
Okay, I didn't know if you knew this. So all right, I'll tell the truth. So the guy involved, he says to me, "Give me a little slap, Bisping." Right. So I'm all right, sure enough. So, and I did honestly. If I was messing around with my son, it was literally just one of them, like a little. And he's like, no, bro, give me a proper slap. And again, as I say, I did not give him a proper slap, but I gave him one like that, just a little mess around. Anyway, he was scheduled for the last slap contest of the day, if you will. Right. So me and Dan Helly, who I work with, I love Dan, by the way, we're commentating the fights, and we're waiting for the last one to come out. And then we're waiting, and he doesn't show up. And then the producer comes in and tells me, "Hey, Mike, apparently the guy that you slapped, afterwards, he started feeling all fuzzy-headed and blurry, and he said that he can't compete." The doctor looked at him and said that he's totally fine, right? But I'm like, I don't believe this. Controversy follows me wherever I go. Dana and all the partners, they put a lot of money into this, a lot of organization. They're like, our commentator, that idiot Bisping, is backstage slapping the fighters and they can't continue. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get fired for sure. So yeah, classic me strikes again. I will be slapping nobody, punching nobody. I'm just going to sit there, do my job, and try and be as boring as possible.
That would be impossible for you to do. But it's too funny. Real quick, last question on slap. I have one UFC question then for you too. Maybe
please.
Two. You were a part of The Ultimate Fighter, and The Ultimate Fighter has really made, I think a lot of people agree it's played a big part in the growth of the UFC ultimately. And it feels like Power Slap is following that model somewhat, with the guys living in the house. How about the parallels there, Michael? And do you actually think it could, getting to know these guys, that could help build the sport?
Yeah, well, certainly when it comes to the UFC, that was a big part of it, right? Obviously, the fights stand on their own 2 feet, but a lot of people, they were apprehensive to give it a shot, to give it a chance. They think that these are meatheads or whatever it is, whatever label they chose. But when they saw The Ultimate Fighter, they got to see the backstory. They get to see the human behind the fighter. They realize that these are family men. They have wives, children, whatever, and they are trying to do the best they can with the lot that they've been given in life and their talents and their abilities. And then once people saw that, they looked at it with a fresh, open view. And the UFC, of course, is the mega company that it is today. I mean, it is a global sensation. And yeah, you never know. I mean, hopefully people get to see the the people competing on slap for who they are. You know, they've all got backstories. Some of them are more interesting than others. Some of them have made some mistakes in their lives and they're trying to get their lives on track, you know. But the reality is when you go into that house, because I did it, you know, most people aren't on. I've never been on a reality TV show. You walk in there, right? And there's cameras everywhere. So you're aware of that. But then after a bit, you forget about those cameras. They become just a part of the furniture, right? But the only people you're living with are your contestants or your rivals that you're going to slap each other in the face. So tensions are high, adrenaline's flowing, a little bit of alcohol starts to flow as well. And then all hell breaks loose. So it's a recipe for excellent TV is what it is.